hour of 12 noon having arrived, the House will come to order. Members, please take your seats. Sergeants at arms, please close the doors of the House. Prayer today will be offered by our colleague, Representative Hohenstein. Immediately thereafter, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Members and guests, please rise as able.
Thank you, Speaker. I've been asked to present prayer in the manner of the Religious Society of Friends, the Quakers that founded Pennsylvania. And Quakers do have roots in Christianity, but we have long recognized that there are many ways to have a relationship with our Creator. And we do so by worshiping in silence. So I'm going to ask everyone to sit down. We will worship in silence for longer than you are usually used to, but much shorter than the hour-long worship that we normally undertake. And I'll just leave everyone with this. Our bodies are home to both the divine spirit of our Creator and also our very fallible human flesh. What we seek to do in worship is to connect with that of God within us, and then also connect with that of God in other people. So we will close worship with me shaking the speaker's hand, and you can all do the same with your colleagues as we close worship before the pledge.
I pledge allegiance Sergeants at arms, please open the doors of the House. Members and guests, please take your seats. Without objection, the approval of the Journal of Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024 will be postponed until printed. The following journal is in print and without objection will be approved. Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. Colleagues, please take your seats so we can acknowledge our guests. Colleagues, please take your seats so we can acknowledge our guests. Sergeants, please clear the aisles. Colleagues, please take your seats so we can acknowledge our guests. Seated to the left of the speaker's rostrum, we're so grateful that in this morning's session or this afternoon, we're going to honor the legacy of a retired member. That would be our colleague who for so many decades served my community that I grew up in and that I'm privileged to serve right next door to him now. That would be the late, great Chairman, Representative Roebuck. We are so grateful to have retired Philadelphia City Councilwoman, who is a personal friend, shero, and mentor of mine, Councilwoman Janie Blackwell, who's joined by Karen Dunn, who worked for many years in the office of Chairman Roebuck. Please stand and remain standing so we can applaud you. We have Anthony Falk, who was also a legislative aide to Chairman Roebuck, and some other former team members from his office, Audra Dunn, Teresa Sims, West Taylor, Marissa Guerin, and Michael Sweeney. Our condolences continue to be with you. Thank you for joining us today. We are so excited that we have some students here who are going to be here all summer. We have the House of Representatives Bipartisan Management Committee from the Chief Clerk's Office, the PA House Fellowship Program, and the House Archives interns who will be here all summer. And of course, so many are from your respective districts. We are thrilled to have, and please stand and remain standing, Benton Resnick, who's a student at American University, who's assigned to the Aging and Older Adult Committee, Alexandra Crosby from the University Catholic de Lille, assigned to the Health Committee, Grace Tanner from Temple University, assigned to the Local Government Committee, Christian Williamson from Villanova, who I met with our leader Bradford in his classroom, who's assigned to the leader's office, Tyler Hartman from Rutgers University School of Law, assigned to Housing and Community Development, Lauren Masta from Penn State University, assigned to Human Services, Morgan Ponkus from the College of William and Mary, assigned to Transportation, and Luke Capper, who's a recent graduate of the University of Scranton and interns with the House Archives program. Students, welcome. Have a great summer here. In the gallery, our colleague that serves Fayette, Representative Krupa, has brought some constituents who are on the floor of the House by way of our gallery. We have siblings, Emma and Ian Glad. Emma is an RN, BSN, and holds the title of Miss Laurel Highlands 2024. She's also a Dr. Lorna Breen Heroes Foundation ambassador. She advocates so that folks will care for their mental well-being, particularly for that of healthcare workers. Ian is currently in nursing school and will follow his sister's path. Thank you both for joining us today. Congratulations. Our colleague that serves Bucks County, Representative Monroe, has some team members from his legislative district office who are here where they've had already a tour of the Capitol and will be checking in on us in session today. Would Representative Monroe's team members please stand? We're so glad to have you, and thank you for your hard work back home. Our colleague that serves Montgomery County, Representative Webster, has the Lady Hoopers Tap Ensemble. They performed here in the Capitol today, which is National Tap Day, and that took place May 25th. And they were founded in 2011 by Kat Echevarria Ricker, and they are led by their artistic director, Tamara Dallum. Please stand. We're so glad to have you and appreciate you performing today. Our colleague that serves York, Representative Grove, has brought the Spring Grove Rocketry team. They are among the top 100 out of 922 from across the country, and they recently competed in the American Rocketry Challenge Nationals just a few weeks ago on May 19th, 2024. The Spring Grove Middle School team placed second in the nation. This is the highest place a TARC team from Spring Grove has ever finished with. Congratulations. Please stand. Thank you all for your hard work. Our colleagues that serve Erie County, Representatives Mirsky, Bizarro, and Harkins have brought the Jefferson Educational Society Civic Leadership Academy, which launched in 2015 with the mission to help prepare dynamic and emerging Erie County professionals to have more meaningful, fulfilling, and impactful engagement in their community. They have completed a 7-month-long curriculum that fosters teamwork, growth, and learning opportunity. And they come to the Capitol every year. Thank you all for your civic engagement and your leadership in Erie. Please stand. Our colleague that serves Montgomery County, Representative Scott, has his district office staffers visiting the Capitol today. With that team from Montgomery County, please stand. Thank you all for your hard work back home. Are there requests for leaves of absence? The chair recognizes the majority whip, who indicates there are none, and the chair recognizes the minority whip, who indicates there are none. The chair is about to take the master roll call. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? 201. 202 members having voted on the master roll call. Clerk will record the vote. Colleagues, we're about to take up a condolence resolution honoring the memory of the Honorable James Roebuck of Philadelphia, who represented the 188th Legislative District in the House of Representatives. The sergeants at arms will close the doors of the House. Members, please take your seats. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader, who calls up House Resolution 458, printer's number 3193 on page 1 of the Supplemental A uncontested calendar. Will the House agree to the resolution? The clerk will read the resolution. Colleagues, please take your seats.
A resolution extending condolences on the death of the Honorable James R. Roebuck of Philadelphia, who represented the 188th Legislative District in the House of Representatives from 1985 to 2020. Whereas Mr. Roebuck died May 15, 2024 at 79 years of age, and whereas the House of Representatives notes that Mr. Roebuck's significant civic, academic, and political experience, along with his record of advancing equality and inclusion, and whereas, born February 12, 1945 in Philadelphia, Mr. Roebuck is remembered for his community participation and commitment to the welfare of the residents of West Philadelphia and Philadelphia County. And whereas, a 1963 graduate of Central High School, Mr. Roebuck earned a bachelor's degree from Virginia Union University, as well as a master's degree and a Doctor of Philosophy degree from the University of Virginia. And whereas, during the 1969-1970 academic year, as the first African-American president of the University of Virginia Student Council, Mr. Roebuck provided leadership during anti-war protests and the movement towards full coeducation. And whereas Mr. Roebuck is remembered for his influence and energies on behalf of the progress of education. And whereas before entering public service, Mr. Roebuck was a longtime lecturer and assistant professor of history at Drexel University. And whereas Mr. Roebuck formerly chaired the Education Committee of the House of Representatives. And whereas Mr. Roebuck was appointed to the Task Force on Higher Education Funding, the Public School Building Construction and Reconstruction Advisory Committee, the Special Education Funding Commission, and the Higher Education Funding Commission. And whereas Mr. Roebuck is remembered for his exemplary work to enact the goals of the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus as a member and chairperson while in office. And whereas in 2021, the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus Scholarship was renamed in his honor. And whereas the James R. Roebuck Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus Scholarship, presented annually to graduating high school seniors and undergraduates, meets financial needs and promotes the academic success of recipients throughout this Commonwealth. And whereas Mr. Roebuck's wife, Cheryl Arrington Roebuck, a distinguished musician and School District of Philadelphia music teacher, died in 2016. And whereas the Roebucks attended Arch Street United Methodist Church in Philadelphia. Therefore, be it resolved that the House of Representatives extend condolences on the death of the Honorable James R. Roebuck of Philadelphia, who represented the 188th Legislative District in the House of Representatives from 1985 through 2020. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be transmitted to the family of James R. Roebuck.
Chair thanks the clerk. Today, we remember an influential member of this body who we lost just last month, the late State Representative Jim Roebuck. For more than 30 years, Jim Roebuck faithfully served his neighbors in Southwest and West Philadelphia, and his constituency included me as our voice in Harrisburg. He was a very fierce advocate, especially on education equity, and he rose to lead the Education Committee. Aside from his legislative service, at the heart, Representative Roebuck was a true, kind gentleman and an educator who was very passionate at taking the time to enlighten and inform any in front of whom were there. Before being elected, he was both a lecturer and an assistant professor at Drexel University. He continued to tutor students in the community at Lee Elementary as part of the Garden Court Community Association's Children Read Aloud program. He and his wife, who was so lovely and very kind, Cheryl, worked to provide musically inclined students with access to musical instruments. He was a lifelong learner, traveler, visited countries throughout the world, and was notably one to visit entire U.S. national parks across our nation. His legacy cannot be overstated, and fittingly, it will live on thanks to the work of the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus, who at the time, our former chair, Donna Bullock, saw it fitting to rename our Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus Scholarship after Chairman Roebuck while he was still alive and able to take that glory. I'll end with, I remember the first time I met the good chairman. I was a student at Villanova Law, living in his district in Southwest Philly, and we were having concerns with a couple of nuisance businesses and other concerns, and I got a flyer in the door. We were going to meet with the state representative, and I thought, wow, this is big. I'm gonna meet the state rep. Okay, so we could go around the corner. It was a Sunday night, and there were block captains and people much more older than me, talking and leading, and we were sharing our concerns and our questions, and he took the time to listen, and I could have never, ever guessed that time frame in my life that I'd ever become his colleague. It's so amazing the way life navigates us. But I truly am grateful to my colleague, currently serves the 188th Legislative District, for making sure that we had this time to make his memory noteworthy on the Journals of the House, which will stand beyond all of our service. And with that, I recognize the gentleman from Philadelphia County, Representative Rick Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the loved ones of Representative Roebuck who have joined us today and paying respect to his long legacy of public service. Thank you for being with us. I have to admit that this is one of the responsibilities I did not anticipate when I entered public service. It can feel daunting to encapsulate a life's worth of achievements in mere words, to honor not only the person who's passed on from this realm onto the next, but to honor their family, their loved ones, their community. It is especially daunting when that person's footsteps loom large, as do the footsteps of Jim Roebuck. As a younger person, sometimes we're derided for not knowing our history. While I can't say that I know everything about the history of Philly politics, I can say that Jim Roebuck's legislative career began during an illustrious period of insurgent Black political leadership in the city of Philadelphia. David P. Richardson, Hardy Williams, and Lucian Blackwell were visionaries who converted their grassroots community organizing into Black political power. They understood the vital role local government played in the change they wanted to see, and Jim Roebuck was clear about that role as well. Jim became the University of Virginia's first Black president of their student council. After serving as a legislative aide for Mayor Wilson Goode, Philadelphia's first Black mayor, Jim Roebuck was elected as a Democratic committee person in the 46th Ward under the leadership of Lucian Blackwell, before becoming state representative in the 188th District during a special election in 1985. In addition to Jim's time in Harrisburg, he was also a cherished community member in West Philadelphia. He was active with the Garden Court Civic Association, and he personally tutored students in the Philadelphia School District. His wife, Cheryl, shared his passion for young learners as well, as she herself was a music teacher for the school district. During one of his many floor speeches, Jim told his colleagues that there is no higher priority that we should have now than how we treat our children. There is no higher priority that we should have than making sure all of our children have the right to a good education. This was the core mission that drove Jim's time in public service. his clarity on our legislative mandate to ensure that every child in this Commonwealth is afforded the education they deserve. After the decision in Commonwealth Court, our state has taken on the responsibility of defining an adequate education experience for every child in Pennsylvania. Jim served as the Democratic chairman of the Education Committee for nearly 20 years. And were it not for him tending to that fire for so long, keeping the fight for our children alive during years of immense pressure, it is possible that we would not be so well positioned to seize the moment as we are today. In many ways, our chamber is riding on our own wave of insurgent Black political leadership. With our history-making Speaker of the House, our Appropriations Chairman, and our largest ever legislative Black caucus. I hope that our ancestors, like Jim, can rest easy knowing we're continuing the work that they started. If there's anything I hope to emulate from Jim Roebuck during my time in public service, it is his clarity of purpose. The children of our Commonwealth were always front and center for him. As we enter June, let us remember Jim's clarity of purpose when we take on the work of fulfilling our constitutional mandate to provide those children with the education they deserve. I believe it would be the most fitting tribute of all. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. On that question, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Philadelphia County, the Majority Chair of Appropriations, Representative Harris.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It was a pleasure and an honor to serve with Representative Jim Roebuck. As an educator myself, I always like to remind people that he was Dr. James R. Roebuck, Jr. Sometimes when we get into this chamber, it seems as though we shed all of the accolades and things that we've done before. But if you talked with Jim, you would know that he was Dr. James R. Roebuck. You could disagree with Jim, but I don't think anybody ever disliked him. He was a kind, warm, gentle soul, mild-mannered, even-keeled, and many times quiet, until we talked about education. And I remember many speeches on this very floor from that microphone right back there, where he would get up and he would passionately talk about education. I won't try to mimic his again. There's a very profound way he would say the word again when he would talk on this floor. Many of the members in the back who, Jim sat in that back row back there, they smiling because they know exactly what I'm talking about. Representative Roebuck also reminded me of something that I didn't really know. He reminded me to really take every day and enjoy it. A lot of people don't know this, but Jim enjoyed traveling, so much so that one time we were going to a conference on the West Coast, and instead of flying, he took the train. He left a week and a half earlier and took the train from the East Coast to the West Coast. So I said to him, Jim, why didn't you just fly? Are you scared of airplanes? He's like, no, I just wanted to see the scenery. And at that time, being a young legislator, I didn't get it because we always seem to be in a rush to get everywhere and to do everything. But he was able to remind me that life is more than just the next meeting or the next event. and that sometimes you have to slow down and literally enjoy the scenery and enjoy the moments. So while Representative Roebuck may not be here with us physically, his legacy remains. We legitimately walk in his footsteps. I think the most solace that I could take about Representative Roebuck not being here with us physically is to know that he's rejoined his wife, who he loved and cherished. You could not know Jim without him telling you about his wife and her career as a music teacher in school district of Philadelphia. To know Jim Roebuck was to like him, even in the middle of disagreements. He was a kind, gentle man and a gentle soul. He would tell you how much he loved Central High School, his alma mater, and he would tell you how much he loved the kids and the children of this Commonwealth. So to Representative Roebuck, I say, job well done. I say thank you for the legacy that you've left. Thank you for the example that you've given. Now, my dear friend and comrade, my elder who has become an ancestor, rest well. Job well done. God bless you all.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Those in favor of the resolution will rise and remain standing for a moment of silence as a mark of respect for the deceased former member. Guests, please also rise as able. The resolution has been unanimously adopted. Sergeants at Arms, please open the doors of the House. Colleagues, we do have one additional guest. The chair is in receipt of information that a Philadelphia hero has joined us on the floor of this House. Forever known for the 4th and 26th, I always call him Fred X when I'm in his presence, but we are so excited to have seated to the left of the Speaker's rostrum, former Philadelphia Eagle, Freddie Mitchell. Welcome to the floor of the House. Chair is in receipt of reports, which the clerk will now read.
An annual report as required by the Vocational Rehabilitation Act from the Department of Labor and Industry regarding the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation 2023 annual report. A report filed in accordance with the revisions of Chapter 15 of the Right to Know law for Pennsylvania State University for the fiscal year commencing on July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023. A report filed in accordance with the revisions of Chapter 15 of the Right to Know law for the University of Pittsburgh for the fiscal year 2023.
The chair referred the following bills, which the clerk will now read.
Referrals, May 22nd, 2024. House Bill 2320, Aging and Older Adult Services. House Bill 2321, Consumer Protection, Technology and Utilities. House Bill 2322, House Resolution 451, both the Labor and Industry. Referrals, May 28, 2024. House Bill 2338, Consumer Protection, Technology and Utilities. House Bill 2339, House Bill 2344, both to Health. House Bill 2340, House Bill 2342, both to Judiciary. House Bill 2343, Labor and Industry. House Resolution 452, Tourism and Economic Recreational Development. House Bill 2323 and House Bill 2341, both to Transportation. Referrals, May 29, 2024. House Resolution 453, Aging and Older Adult Services. House Bill 2354, Agriculture Rural Affairs. House Resolution 455, Children and Youth. House Bill 2345, Consumer Protection, Technology and Utilities. House Bill 2348, Housing and Community Development. House Bill 2355 to Judiciary, House Bill 2346, House Bill 2356, both to Labor and Industry, House Bill 2353, House Resolution 454, both to State Government, House Bill 2347, House Bill 2349, House Bill 2350, those three to Transportation. Referrals May 30th, 2024, House Bill 2357 to Agricultural Rural Affairs. Referrals June 3rd, 2024, House Bill 2359 to Commerce, House Bill 2370 Education, House Bill 2363 to Health, and House Resolution 458 to the uncontested calendar under Rule 35.
Chair is in receipt of extracts from the Journal of the Senate, which the clerk will now read.
Clerk of the Senate being introduced, informed that the Senate has concurred in the amendments made by the House of Representatives by amending said amendments to Senate Bill numbered and entitled as follows. Senate Bill 497, ordered that the clerk present the same to the House of Representatives for its concurrence.
Chair recognizes Representative Paszynski, Chair of the Committee on Agriculture and Rural Affairs, who reports the following bills. House Bill 245, reported as committee. Will the House agree to the bill is agreed to? House Bill 2309, reported as committee. Will the House agree to the bill is agreed to? House Bill 2310, reported as committee. Will the House agree to the bill it is agreed to? House Bill 2354, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill is agreed to? House Bill 2357. Reported as committee. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. Chair recognizes Representative Paszynski, Chair of the Committee on Agriculture and Rural Affairs, who reports the following resolution. H.R. 445, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? It is agreed to. The Chair recognizes Representative Kim, Chair of the Committee on Insurance, who reports the following bills. House Bill 1754, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. Senate Bill 739, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. Senate Bill 1092, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? It is agreed to. Chair recognizes Representative Hill Evans, Chair of the Committee on State Government, who reports the following bills. House Bill 1261, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. House Bill 1630, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. House Bill 2216, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. House Bill 2308, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. Chair recognizes Representative Hill Evans, Chair of the Committee on State Government, who reports the following resolutions. H.R. 339, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. H.R. 398, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. H.R. 422, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. H.R. 438, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. H.R. 439, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? It is agreed to. Chair recognizes the Majority Caucus Chair for a caucus announcement, Representative Schlossberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House Democrats will caucus at 1:30. We will be prepared to return to the floor at 2:30.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes Representative Dunbar for a caucus announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Republicans will also caucus at 1:30. Republicans caucus at 1:30. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Montgomery County, Representative Briggs, for a committee announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The House Judiciary Committee will meet immediately in room 523 Irvis Office Building to consider House Bill 82, House Bill 1509, and House Bill 2197, as well as any other business that comes before the committee. Immediate in room 523 Irvis. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentleman from the Lehigh, Representative Schweier, for a committee announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And right across the hall in the 515 Irvis Office Building, the House Education Committee will be holding a voting meeting. We will be considering House Bill 1084, 1685, House Bill 1990, House Bill 2185, and House Bill 755, and any other business that may become for the committee. Thank you, ma'am.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Philadelphia for a committee announcement. Majority Chair of Appropriations, Representative Harris.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The House Appropriations Committee will meet immediately at the break in the Majority Caucus Room. House Appropriations Committee will meet immediately at the break in the Majority Caucus Room. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Colleagues, If I can briefly have your attention, our final guest just arrived to the floor of the House. We are so excited to represent students from the Lehigh. Our colleague, Representative Samuelson, Majority Chair of Finance, has brought to us the 4th grade students from the Asa Packer Elementary School in the Bethlehem Area School District. Would you all please stand? I know you're still coming in. Representative Samuelson and I, we all welcome you to the floor of the House. House stands in recess until 2:30 p.m. unless sooner recalled by the Speaker. The hour of 2:30 having arrived, the House will come to order. Members, please take your seats. Chair recognizes Representative Harris, Chair of the Committee on Appropriations, who reports the following bills. House Bill 2233, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? It's the report. It's agreed to. House Bill 2251, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. Senate Bill 1018, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? It is agreed to. The Chair recognizes Representative Briggs, Chair of the Committee on Judiciary, who reports the following bills. House Bill 82, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. House Bill 1509, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. House Bill 2197, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? It is agreed to. Chair recognizes Representative Briggs, Chair of the Committee on Judiciary, who reports the following bill with a request that it be re-referred. Senate Bill 998 to the Committee on Transportation. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. The Chair referred the following bills, which the clerk will now read.
Referrals, June 3rd, 2024. House Bill 2368 to Health. House Bill 2361, Housing and Community Development. House Resolution 456, House Resolution 457, both to Judiciary. House Bill 2360, House Bill 2366, both to Labor and Industry. House Bill 2365, House Bill 2369, House Resolution 459, all three to State Government. House Bill 2364 and House Bill 2367, both to Transportation.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader, who calls up House Resolution 337, printers number 2674, on page 4 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the resolution.
A resolution designating the week of May 19th through May 25th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Pennsylvania, introduced by Representative Stender.
Will the House agree to the resolution? Those in favor of the resolution will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the resolution. The ayes are 201, the nays are 1. The resolution is adopted. The Chair recognizes the Majority Leader, who calls up House Resolution 402, printers number 2979, on page 5 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the resolution.
A resolution designating May 20th, 2024 as Rescue Dog Day in Pennsylvania, introduced by Representative Casey Tomlinson.
Will the House agree to the resolution? On that question, Chair recognizes the gentlelady from Bucks, Representative Tomlinson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm truly honored to introduce House Resolution 402, a resolution to make May 20th Rescue Dog Day here in Pennsylvania. As a proud dog mom, I hope this brings awareness to how important it is to rescue and that it encourages more people to adopt instead of shop. There are countless dogs out there waiting for their forever homes. Last year, I had the opportunity to adopt my sweet girl, Duchess. She was a puppy mill mama, a golden retriever, and only weighed 35 pounds. The very sight of people terrified her. You could not pet her or walk near her without her cowering to the floor or attempting to run away and hide in some corner. Today, she is 63 pounds, a total love bug, and cannot get enough attention. And thankfully, she seems to have very little memory of the trauma she experienced in the beginning of her life. Rescuing her has been one of the most rewarding things I have ever done. I hope this resolution will encourage more people to go and save a dog just like my Duchess and give them the love and attention they very much deserve. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. Will the House agree to the resolution? Those in favor of the resolution will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the resolution. The ayes are 201, the nays are 1. The resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Resolution 417, printers number 3146 on page 6 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the resolution.
A resolution designating June 8, 2024 as Marian Anderson Day in Pennsylvania, introduced by Representative Young.
Will the House agree to the resolution? Those in favor of the resolution will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the resolution. The ayes are 200, the nays are 2. The resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Resolution 419, printers number 3049 on page 6 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the resolution.
A resolution designating the month of May 2024 as Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Awareness Month in Pennsylvania, introduced by Representative Brian Cutler.
Will the House agree to the resolution? Those in favor of the resolution will be voting aye. Chair recognizes the maker of the resolution, the gentleman from Lancaster, Representative Cutler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the gentleman from Lackawanna County, as we've worked on this issue previously as well for the 112th Legislative District. Many of you know my own personal story and how his intersected with both of our family members. In my case, my mother and my father, and in his case, his father, passing away to Lou Gehrig's disease. It's an important part to raise the awareness for this disease. And I always encourage members to share your story, to share your why and why you are here. For me and my own personal journey, it's literally the reason I ran for office, was because I would not have been in a position to go to law school later in life, but for our community rallying around me and my younger sister at that time, when my sister and I were in high school and our parents had Lou Gehrig's disease. And Madam Speaker, one of the reasons we need to raise awareness is because there's a higher instance amongst military personnel. And through the War on Terror, the Commonwealth had the largest number of deployed military personnel in the country. Our fastest growing age demographic are those age 85 and older, and it's important that we have the structure and the network in place to care for these individuals. There are lines in the budget that do, in fact, care for these individuals, those men and women who so valiantly served our country, as well as those who, by some other unlucky strike of fate, find themselves with this disease, such as Representative Mullins' father and my own parents. So, Madam Speaker, it's important that we raise the awareness. It's important that we continue to advocate and highlight, most importantly, many of the advances in the treatments and the medicines that have been recently approved because of the increased awareness and the increased fundraising. And I want to personally thank each and every one of you, because I know that they're up here every year when the ALS Association, both from the Western chapter and the Philadelphia chapter, come. Many of you meet with them and join in their advocacy efforts. And I just wanted to personally thank you, because when you open your door and provide your time to them, you are doing it to both myself and everybody else who has had a family member who has suffered from this horrible disease. So thank you for taking time to care. Thank you for taking time to share. And most importantly, thank you for showing that by prioritizing it as we move forward. So I would urge a yes vote. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Those in favor of the resolution will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Clerk will record the vote on the resolution. The ayes are 201, the nays are 1. The resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Resolution 444, printers number 3128, on page 7 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the resolution.
A resolution designating the month of May 2024 as Bike Month, the week of May 13th through May 19th, 2024 as Bike to Work Week, and May 17th, 2024 as Bike to Work Day in Pennsylvania, introduced by Representative Donna Bullock.
Will the House agree to the resolution? Those in favor of the resolution will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the resolution. The ayes are 163, the nays are 39. The resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 1867, printers number 3054, on page 2 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill requires dental insurers to provide dentists with multiple payment methods.
Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 851, printers number 3070, on page 1 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill creates a grant program to provide eligible public school entities with funding to acquire and distribute menstrual hygiene products at no expense to students.
Will the House agree to the bill? The chair rules the following amendments out of order for violating House Rule 27. A04541, A04543. For what purpose does the gentleman from Carbon rise?
I rise to challenge a ruling of the chair.
On which amendment?
Amendment A04541.
The gentleman, Representative Heffley, appeals the ruling of the chair that A04541 violates House Rule 27. House Rule 27 provides that no bill shall be amended as to change its original purpose. The subject of House Bill 851 provides for accessibility to menstrual hygiene products to students in the public school system. Amendment A04541 strikes any reference to menstrual hygiene products and replaces it with language dealing with property taxes. Shall the decision of the chair stand as the judgment of the House? Those in favor of sustaining the chair's decision will be voting aye. On the question, the chair recognizes the gentleman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, House Bill 851 deals with the public school code, and my amendment, A04541, deals with property taxes, as property taxes or local property taxes is how we primarily fund public education, and the inequity in that funding. This amendment, I feel, is relevant to the underlying bill in that it would provide relief for homeowners on their taxes, and which would go directly to the school. So I would ask for this motion so that we can actually debate the merits of the amendment, which to date we have not yet been able to debate on this House floor. So while I would imagine the majority party at this point doesn't want to take up property tax relief, I will continue to offer these amendments.
The gentleman will suspend. The gentleman will not question the motives of colleagues, members in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. When the gentleman had an opportunity to vote to lower taxes, the gentleman did not participate and vote in the affirmative.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
For what purpose does the gentleman stand?
Madam Speaker, while I agree that individuals should not question the motive of other members, did the chair not just engage in such an activity?
Just so it's clear for every member, the chair did not and has never questioned the motive. The chair was stating facts, so it's
Point of order,
clear.
Madam Speaker.
Those in favor
Point of order, Madam
sustaining
Speaker.
the chair's decision
Point
will
of
vote
order,
aye.
Madam Speaker.
Those opposed will be voting no. Members
Point
will
of
proceed to
order,
vote.
Madam Speaker. Am I being silenced, Madam Speaker, when I raise a legitimate point of order? Point of order, Madam Speaker.
All the members voted? Have all the members voted?
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
There's nothing in order but the vote which was called. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote. The yeas are 102, the nays are 0. Less than a majority of the members elected. Having voted in the negative, the decision of the chair stands as the judgment of the House. Will the House agree to the bill is agreed to? The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 1367, printers number 3071 on page 1 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill provides for mental health awareness for student athletes, parents, guardians, and coaches.
Will the House agree to the bill? It's the chair's understanding that Representative Shalaba is withdrawing A04544. Is that correct? Chair thanks the representative. The chair rules the following amendment out of order for violating House Rule 20. A04549. The chair rules the following amendments out of order for violating House Rule 27. A04546. A04553. Representative Schweier offers amendment A04430. Will the House agree to the amendment? On that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the amendment, the gentleman from the Lehigh, the Majority Chair of Education, Representative Schweier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I ask for an affirmative vote for Amendment 4430. This alters some of the timelines in which the State Board of Education reviews and revises standards for the health, safety, and physical education to address student mental health awareness, clarifies that an injury or extended absence from a student's activities would trigger notification, requires PIAA coaching education to include training standards relating to behavioral health. Again, ma'am, I would ask for an affirmative vote on this amendment. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Those in favor of the amendment will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the amendment. The ayes are 102, the nays are 100. The amendment's adopted. Representative Shalaba offers amendment A04540. Will the House agree to the amendment? On that question, the chair recognizes the gentlelady from Butler, Representative Shalaba. That one is withdrawn as well.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My amendment simply would implement a requirement that before a school district utilize a service like Kooth, where you are providing mental health services to children without parental knowledge, involvement, or consent, that the parents of that child would be put on notice that their child is going to have access to a system like this. And I would urge a yes vote.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. Those in favor of the amendment will be voting aye. Chair recognizes the gentleman, Representative Schweier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is not an agreed to amendment. I'm asking for a negative vote on Amendment 4540. This is actually a full gut and replace amendment. The entire work that the committee, the maker of the bill, all the stakeholders that are involved in this would be completely nullified by this amendment. Furthermore, asking for parental notification for parents that are for kids that are 16, 17, 18 years old might actually violate other state statutes when we're talking about children who might be being abused by their parents not having access to this. For many, many reasons, ma'am, I ask for a negative vote on this amendment. Thank you.
On that question, Chair recognizes the gentlelady from Allegheny, Representative Kincaid.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As the child of an abusive parent, I would ask for a no vote on this because my mother should not have been notified when I was seeking mental health treatment from my school. I needed it because of her. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. Those in favor of the amendment will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote. On the amendment, the ayes are 101, the nays are 101. The amendment fails. Representative Dorsey offers Amendment A04547. Will the House agree to the amendment? The chair recognizes the gentleman from York, Representative Dorsey.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Thanks, Madam Speaker. I rise today to ask for your support for A0457, which amends House Bill 1367. The underlying bill establishes a series of regulatory actions that various state agencies will be required to complete. In so doing, an inappropriate level of authority is being handed to these agencies to make unilateral decisions that only the General Assembly is fashioned to execute. This delegation of power includes the State Board of Education revising regulations, the Department of Ed and the Department of Health developing model curriculum and a list of educational materials for schools to use, the Department of Ed setting rules for the Student Assistance Program, and the Secretary of Health updating a mental health form for students. Most of these actions will not be subject to the oversight of the General Assembly. Unelected bureaucrats and departments should not be given the authority to make these sweeping decisions. So, my amendment puts the General Assembly back in charge, making the final decisions on policies that impact kids in our state. We are the elected voices of our constituents, and this body exists to consider, weigh, and decide matters like this, not rogue departments. Thank you, and I ask for your support on this amendment.
Chair thanks the gentleman. On that question, chair recognizes Representative Schweier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I respectfully ask for a no vote as this is not an agreed to amendment.
Those in favor of the amendment will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote. On the amendment, the ayes are 101, the nays are 101. The amendment fails. Will the House agree to the bill as agreed to? The bill as amended will be reprinted. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 2233, printer's number 3164 on page 1 of Supplemental Calendar A. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill provides for accidental scene clearance.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? On that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the bill, the gentlelady from Delaware County, Representative Curry.
Thank you, Speaker. I stand in support of this legislation as it represents a necessary step towards improving emergency response procedures and ensuring public safety on roadways by allowing tow truck operators to temporarily bypass certain traffic laws under the direction of on-duty police officers. This allocates for quicker response times and smoother traffic flow, ensuing prompt vehicle removal, reducing the risk of secondary accidents. By working together and following police directives, tow truck operators can effectively contribute to safer, more efficient roadways. Their specialized skills in vehicle recovery are essential components of emergency response efforts, and this legislation acknowledges and supports their crucial role in maintaining road safety. I encourage a yes vote. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. On that question, Chair recognizes the gentleman from Carbon, Representative Heffley.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I appreciate the maker of the bill. There was an amendment that was voted on second consideration that I had some concerns with, and I just want to explain my concerns on final passage. So given a waiver or allowing tow trucks to do a U-turn or go down a certain road, I think is important, right? We want to get the road clear. We want to get the traffic off the road. My concern comes in when it deals with weight and size. So there's a couple different factors. You maybe a posted road because it's a residential area. They don't want trucks a certain size going down that road, but that road can handle the weight of a certain truck. But if you have a posted bridge, and we have thousands of structurally deficient bridges that PennDOT is working on and to work on, but there's also a lot of bridges that are posted with weight restrictions on them and low overpasses. So if you have an oversized load, I mean, most of your overpasses are, if they're not marked, they're 15 feet or higher. But if you have a 12-foot overpass and somebody refers a 14-foot truck down that overpass, it's not going to fit. And that's my concern. Where does the liability end if there's damage done to that structure? If you send an overweight truck down a road that has a light bridge, you could have a catastrophic failure. Where that liability winds up, then does it go to the carrier? Does it go to the tow truck operator? So that's my concern with this, and that's why I'll be voting no on it. I just wanted to try to explain it. I think this is a good step forward. I do think we need to do something to help the towing industry out, but I do have concerns with the size and weight as it applies to low overpasses and light bridges. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, Representative Curry for the second time.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate the gentleman's feedback. I'm happy to work with the gentleman on a solution in the Senate. Today, I ask the members to support this bill so that these discussions can advance in the legislative process. Thank you.
Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 198, the nays are 4. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 2251, printers number 3023 on page 2 of Supplemental Calendar A. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill provides for processing of abandoned vehicles.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 201, the nays are 1. Majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative. The bill passes the House finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up Senate Bill 1018, printers number 1275, on page 1 of Supplemental Calendar A. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill extends the protections provided to child witnesses during civil and criminal proceedings to administrative proceedings before the Department of Human Services.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? On that question, the chair recognizes Majority Chair of Judiciary, Representative Briggs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to ask the members to support Senate Bill 1018. Senate Bill 1018, introduced by Senator Carney, will extend the protections currently provided to child witnesses during civil and criminal proceedings to their administrative proceedings. Madam Speaker, Senate Bill 1018 passed the Senate 50-0 and has widespread bipartisan support. Please support our children and vote yes on Senate Bill 1018. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. On that question, Chair recognizes the gentleman from Lancaster, the Minority Leader, Representative Cutler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I appreciate the prime sponsor's intent as well as that of the chairman speaking in favor of this bill. However, I think that there's some serious issues contained in the language as it is currently drafted. As written, this bill states that DHS shall provide an unlimited number of testimonial accommodations to a child witness, including testimony by telephone, which I believe is patently unconstitutional. Our courts have repeatedly held that in administrative proceedings, due process requires an opportunity to confront and cross-examine witnesses. In Commonwealth v. Williams, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court held that in a child sex abuse case, face-to-face confrontation may only be eliminated without violating the individual's due process rights if the statute in question contains the following 3, and this is important, crucial confrontation elements. 1, witness must testify under oath. 2, witness must be subject to full cross-examination. And 3, the witness must be observed by the defendant and the fact finder. As this legislation would allow a child to potentially testify by telephone or other means that would shield actual observation, I believe that this bill and several other members of the legal community have already expressed this concern, clearly violates the due process rights of the accused. Madam Speaker, no one wants to defend this kind of conduct. However, when you look at constitutional rights, we all start with certain constitutional rights that must be respected throughout the entirety of the process in order to ultimately respect the decision. I don't believe that this bill appropriately accommodates it, and I will be a no today for those reasons.
Chair thanks the gentleman. For the information of the members, the chair defers to the leaders to be the final speakers. However, there is a member seeking recognition, but just so you know, please do that a little bit earlier in debate. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Philadelphia, Representative Hohenstein.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And in truth, I wasn't going to speak until the most recent comments by the leader of the minority party. Child custody is a civil proceeding, and I litigated in what is known as a civil proceeding in immigration court for years. It was structured and remains structured very similar to a criminal proceeding. In those proceedings, there are any number of different ways in which people testify telephonically, video. There are times when the judge, the prosecutor, the defendant, and the defendant's attorneys are all in 4 separate places. This underlying bill relating to a potential abuser or a known abuser of a child being empowered to have direct examination power over that child is something that passed our Senate unanimously. Everybody from both parties voted for it, and this bill, as it's been structured in our House, is no different, and it deserves unanimous support. And I'm all for if someone's constitutional rights and civil rights But in this instance, the rights of an abuser do not supersede the right of a child victim.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the final passage of the bill. The yeas are 133, the nays are 69. Majority required by the Constitution have been voted in the affirmative. The bill passes finally, and the clerk will return the same to the Senate with the information that the House has passed the bill without amendment. Colleagues, if I can have your attention, this afternoon in our voting session, we've been joined by a very special constituent of mine. I'm so excited to welcome to the second time in 6 weeks to the floor of the Pennsylvania House, all the way from Cobb's Creek. That's a part of West and Southwest Philly, if you're not familiar. We have Elder Shirley Dash. She's seated to the left of the speaker's rostrum. She's a lead elder at the Victory Christian Center Church in Southwest Philadelphia, and she is the chaplain at the Providence Rehabilitation Center, which is where we met this time, in fact, last year. Remember, she was in my mom's room and she said, "I'll go." I said, "No, stay. Three's a party." But most importantly, she's here in her purple because she continues to advocate for Alzheimer's awareness. Over a decade since she's lost her mother to Alzheimer's. Elder Shirley, welcome back to the floor of the House. Thank you for your advocacy and thank you for being present. Chair recognizes Representative Schweier, Chair of the Committee on Education, who reports the following bills. House Bill 755, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. House Bill 1084, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. House Bill 1685, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? It is agreed to. House Bill 1990, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. House Bill 2185, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? It is agreed to. The Majority Leader moves that the following bills be recommitted to the Committee on Appropriations. House Bill 851, House Bill 1367, House Bill 1867. The Majority Leader moves that the following bills be removed from the table calendar and be placed on the active calendar. House Bill 1064, House Bill 1839, House Bill 2234, Senate Bill 126, Senate Bill 943. For the information of the members, there will be no further votes. The chair is in receipt of a motion from the gentlelady in Allegheny County, Representative Kincaid, that the House now adjourn until Tuesday, June the 4th, 2024 at 11 a.m. unless sooner recalled by the Speaker. The questions on the motion, those in favor say aye.